Well, it's about that time where we need to start thinking about germinating them seeds for the springtime. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys all my tips and tricks on what I've learned over the multiple experiments that I've done about germinating seeds. What is the best way that I find that works for me? And you know what? Maybe we can start some seeds. Let's go. What's going on, my plant peoples? I am the ADHD gardener, where I use gardening, houseplants, and humor as a form of mental health therapy, and I have been starting a lot of seedlings already. Now, I've done a lot of videos over the course of a few years about how in the world I've been trying to start my seedlings. I've even done experiments as to what grow mediums work the best for seedling germination, and you know what? I figured it all out, but this is just what I like to use the best. I've learned a lot about germinating seedlings over like 2 years, so I'm gonna dump a bunch of information, so you may wanna skip around, but I'm telling you, this is just what works for me. And I've done a few experiments, and I'm gonna drop it down in the description below so you can go check out those experiments that I've done. We're talking about grow lights. I'm not talking about the grow lights that you would be using for your houseplants. The ones you use for your houseplants are not strong enough to germinate seeds, so we're going into the gardening ones. The strength of my grow lights are at least 5,000 lumens. Now that can get into a big separate video in itself, explaining about grow lights, but that's not gonna be for this video. You may wanna go look up what type of grow lights or even, expand on that some more. But I'm using 5,000 lumens minimum. Now ideally LED lights are a lot more cost effective than like regular fluorescents, but being that I have it really long, these are 4-foot long grow lights, I can only find them in fluorescent. Now maybe the times have changed, and even if they do come in LED, I don't care, I don't have the money for it. There's a bunch of different light options, so when you're trying to get the ones that are correct for your seedlings, you gotta get a little specific. I'm using T5s. Now in the stores, or when you're looking up these grow lights, you may come across T5s, T8s, T12s, a bunch of different numbers and letters. Those are ideal for growing seedlings or germinating seeds in general, planting, gardening, and stuff like that. So that's what I'm using. I did buy these off of Amazon. I'm gonna drop a link down in the description below. Not saying you gotta buy it, but just to show you what I have. When you're first starting to germinate your seeds, you gotta start real close to your container. That is the best way to get really, really good, strong growth. Now, if you do not have that grow light really close to your container of whatever you're growing in, your plants will get really leggy and stringy. As your seedlings start growing, you start raising the grow lights, and that's where the daisy chain comes into play. There's a bunch of different seed tray options when it comes to what type of trays you want to use to germinate your seedlings. The standard variety that you would see in most big box stores and even the most sold on Amazon are these standard seedling trays. Those are 6-cell trays. They're kind of small. I think they're like 1 by 1 inch little seedling tray. If you're starting off and that is what you have and that's what's available, and if that's what's cheapest, then you're gonna use those. I do use those. I still have them. I find them to be a little more useful for certain plants than others, depending on the root system of them. But what I'm using this year is a different type of cell tray. I mean, it works the same way. It's just a different size of the cell trays in itself. I think these are 2 by 2. With the standard 6-cell tray, those are kind of small, being that they're only 1 by 1. So most likely, like 95% of the time, if you are growing a larger plant, then you're gonna need to level up or upstage the size of your, of your cell tray. Seedling cell, you know what I mean. So that normally you would go from the 1 by 1 up to a 2 by 2 inch, or so on and so forth, depending on the plant size. For example, if you're growing tomatoes in that standard 6-cell, that is gonna quickly outgrow that small ass tray. So that means you're gonna have to take them and transplant them into another larger container. This one comes with the seedling cells already in it, which is a 2 by 2. It also comes with a tray, but the beauty about it is that this comes with a dome, but I'm gonna get to that later on. You got your grow lights, you also have your seed trays. Of course, you're gonna need seeds. Now that you have all 3 of those components, we are gonna talk grow medium, because that's the only missing factor that we have. I'm supposed to be working on this and you wanna play with the ball? Really? Like now you wanna do that? I can't now. This, of course, is old seedling mix. I've made this my gosh, 7 months ago or something, and I haven't used it since, so it's very dry. But what I do have in here is cocoa core, vermiculite, and a little bit of perlite. That is what's making up this entire mix. It looks like dirt, right? But it's not. Being that I already started with this, I'm just gonna add on top of this. In this container, I have a bunch of perlite and vermiculite. That's all it is right here. I'm just gonna mix it up because I'm gonna be adding this into my sea start. Notice that this right here does not have a lot of white chunks in it. This is what we're gonna use to promote a lot of drainage, because you don't wanna have a bunch of soggy grow medium, because it will kill your plants from root rot. The vermiculite also acts as a drainage component. I mean, it will promote some drainage, but also when it is wet, it will retain some moisture. So we want a nice little combination of both of them. We're gonna add that to here. Now this is super dry. We're gonna have to like fix it up a little bit. So we're going to be adding not only just water, well, actually, we're just gonna add water in the first part. We need to rehydrate this. Yo, doesn't it look like soil, but it's totally not? That's awesome. All right, let's wash that off. I'm glad I had a lot of water. If it looks like a lot of water now, it's okay, but because we're gonna be adding more to this, because I'm gonna need a lot more grow medium for a bunch of trays that I need. When you order your cocoa core, it's gonna come compressed, so you're really gonna have to saturate it with a lot of water to get it going. But it looks kind of similar to peat moss, right? This is what straight peat moss looks like. Is there environmental controversy over this? There is. But then again, I'm broke, and this is what I could afford. So for all those that wanna shame me that I'm using this and killing the environment, then buy me some. Buy me some cocoa core. That'll solve the problem, so I won't have to use this. But this is what it looks like. If you have cocoa core, you will substitute the peat moss for the cocoa core. There, problem solved. Doesn't it look like soil? I'm so excited. I mean, why am I excited? I'm always excited. I'm just excited about plants. And to be honest, I need a stress reliever. I'm really trying to have some serious stress management in my life when it comes to balancing nursing and YouTube. It's hard. It's very hard, but that's why I need a stress reliever. And messing with plants and soil or grow medium makes me happy, and it makes me chill. Let's say you're in this stage. You already mixed it all up. Now we need to feed it a little bit of nutrients, because this has nothing in it at all. So eventually your seedlings will, as they grow up, they're gonna turn yellow on you because there has no nutrients in here. So what I'm gonna be using is my favorite tried and true, is some worms. Well, worm castings. What am I saying? We're adding worms. Worm castings. I use this all the time, so I get a 30-pound bag. You don't have to buy 30 pounds if you're just messing with houseplants or maybe a little garden, but being I use this so much, I go through like 2 to 3 bags of this a whole garden growing season. This is some beautiful worm poop, okay? I never thought I would say, hey, I'd be happy to see a pile of poop, but yet here I am. We're gonna mix in a bunch of worm castings. This is gonna offer a lot of nutrients into the, into the grow medium. So as the roots start to develop, they get into this grow medium in case they need to feed a little extra. The worm castings with the moisture of the water, it's gonna seep into the grow medium, therefore getting sucked up by the roots, and happy plants. Remember these old seedling trays? These are cool. I don't have a problem using them. I'm gonna be using them throughout the spring and summertime. Remember these? Now these are your typical average, growing trays. But the only problem is, well, there's a few little issues that I would find with this, is that one, they break very, very easily. They're super thin, the trays. So if you're not careful, or if you're a little brute force like I am, these are gonna crack on you all the time. And that's what happened to me. The second thing I'm not a fan of exactly is that, it doesn't come with a dome on it. I'm sure you could probably find it, but it's gonna be kind of expensive, and normally you would not find it with a dome. Some seedlings, or some seeds I should say, germinate under some really humid conditions. And I've noticed with a lot of my, my other plants like onions and whatever, that they won't grow unless they got some serious humidity. So I changed it up this year again and got something different, which are these trays right here. I purposefully got this different kind is because it comes with everything included. Like this is the tray. I mean, I have a bunch of them stacked on here, but this tray is a lot more sturdier than those original trays. This is a lot more. Only problem is it's a little smaller. You mean you lose a lot of space, but you know what? It makes it up because it comes with a dome. Yo, look at that. That's exactly what I needed. And it comes with like a pack of 10 of these. I think for like 20 bucks or something. I don't know. I'll drop a link in the description. But man, look at that, yo. These trays are a lot larger than this. This is about a 2x2, and you know, these are kind of like on the small side. So there is a little bit of a difference, all right? So this is why I really love this idea, and plus the fact that it came with a dome, it's literally all in one, especially for those hard germinating seeds. Being that I'm growing lettuce, I don't need those larger 2x2 cells. I can grow them right in here. Besides, I need more plants because I really need a lot of lettuce. So I'm gonna fill up these. So I'm gonna take that, fill this in, and then get the seeds going. I'm very excited. How do you guys feel when you're starting seedlings or when you're messing with plants? How do you feel? Do you feel happy? Do you feel calm? Do you feel at peace? Do you feel less stressed? Let me know down in the comments below. You'd be surprised how effective plants are when it comes to mental health. It really does give you a good breather and just maybe a little time. My personality type is an ENTJ, which means, if you know anything about Myers-Briggs, woof, you'll know a little something about ENTJs. But either way, we are go-getters and we are very thinking forward, always moving forward ahead. We're like looking into the future. So what happens is that we tend to forget about the present. So working with the soil, working with all this has taught me to be present at the present moment. Slow down, stop and smell the soil. I get. We got my seedling tray already ready to get started with putting the seeds inside. What I'm using is actually one of my chopsticks. Let's not tell Jose that I'm using another kitchen utensil as a gardening tool, because I've been known to use knives, forks, spoons, all that stuff. So I got one of these chopsticks and I'm just gonna make a hole inside of the soil. If your soil, I would advise actually before you do anything is to moisten up the soil, because it would just make it a lot easier. Before you start dropping your seeds inside of these trays, I would suggest moistening up, saturating this, your grow medium with water beforehand. Because I've known through experience, because it's happened to me plenty of times, is if you water it with the seed inside of it, sometimes the water can actually make the seeds pop out, sink to the bottom, or just, it's just issues, okay? And I already got issues. I don't need more. I'm gonna be doing onions this time. I've already done my broccoli, my cauliflower, and my cabbage, and even dabbling in some Brussels sprouts. So those seedlings have already been started. I have tons of lettuce seeds also that have started as well. The only thing that I'm missing right now is some onions, and also probably some leeks too. But for now, so whatever I'm gonna be doing with these onions is the same thing that you're gonna be applying to any other seed. Remember the hole? We're gonna pop those seeds inside of them. Now, for an in-depth onion, that's going to be for another video, because these are their requirements for onions. Oof, it's a little tricky. But as you see up here, I got tons of stuff already growing, and that would be the broccoli, the cauliflower, the lettuce, and all that stuff. But for now, I'm only going to be doing the onions because that's what I'm missing. I'm going to drop 1 to 2 seeds. Now, you can drop 1 seed if you want to, not a problem. But depending on the germination percentage, sometimes if it's an old seed versus a new seed, you may not get 100% germination. So if you add 2 seeds per little seedling hole, whatever, then you'll be all right. Because when in doubt, if you have more growing out of 1 tray, that's okay. We can thin them out later on, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just going to be dropping at least 2 seeds per little hole. Now, the onion seeds are easier to see because they're a lot larger. But there are going to be seeds that are way too small. Like the flower ones, like my snapdragons. Oh my gosh, they are ridiculously small. They are literally smaller than a needle head. So, oh gosh. But if you can do this, you should be all right. If you drop a little too many in one spot, it's all good. We'll just thin them out later on. Depending on what you're going to be growing is how long it's going to take to germinate. Some seeds take longer to germinate, like 2 weeks. Some only take a few days. I've also noticed that depending on your grow medium, it can either grow slower or faster. Another thing that can influence germination time would be the dome. Now see here, look at this. This one has no dome on here. Disregard this because I've already previously grown my spinach before I started everything else. So all the other stuff, see the little green right here, over there too. Those took 2.5 times longer than those right over here because they did not have a dome. I wanted to show you guys what and how long it would take before those started germinating before the ones with a dome. No humidity capturing. Being that there was no dome, it could not hold on to and maintain the amount of humidity and moisture that should have been in the grow medium. Now, I did not have that dome, so that means I had to actually water 2-3 times, a lot more times than you would have if you had the dome. Notice the dome. Look at all that condensation collecting. It's holding on to all of that moisture, which means the grow medium, whatever you're using, is not going to dry up as fast. Eventually, it will dry up, but not as fast. Not nearly as fast as that. That shit was ridiculous. Ridiculously dry within like, what, 2 days? This one is cabbage. I was having a hard time with the cabbage germination, and I'm going to let you know why, because this is another tip. The first tip was the dome with the humidity and the condensation. The second tip is, wow, it could be a seed problem. Let's take this off. Now, what do we have here? We have very, very sparse seed germination. Look at that. Not many germinated seeds. This is a bad thing. All right, not cool. I got one little one, but that's only because I came around another day and started sowing more seeds. There's a reason why you may not get any more seed germination, even though you did everything right. And that has to do with the age of the seeds. Have you ever noticed that all gardeners tend to buy seeds over and over again every single year, despite the fact that they have like boatloads of it? It is because every year that the seeds go unused, their the efficacy or the percentage of chances of your seed to germinate goes down. So every year you don't use it, it has a less chance of germinating. Now, as you can see, this is a good result of what I'm talking about. Not a lot. So that means I had to go back in and resow more cabbage seeds. This time with this, with this particular plant, I actually threw in 3 seeds each one because I knew that those seeds were old or older than the rest of them. So I needed more chance of them to grow. Let's check out another one. The same thing with the broccoli. I've had these broccoli seeds for like 4 years. Only recently did I buy a new variety of broccoli seeds. So that is what I wound up resowing. This is another one. The broccoli did not germinate, and that is because these are some old ass seeds. I'm gonna show you why. These are the broccoli seeds. Now I don't know, it's gonna be kind of hard to tell, but those broccoli seeds were packed in 2019. It's 2022, peoples. That is a very long time to have seeds. And for you to be expecting it to grow anything or germinate anything, highly unlikely. As a result, you can see nothing, damn near nothing. I mean, what is that, like 6% germination? Awful. So what I did was I already sowed some more seeds. I had to buy a new pack of seeds so I can, get some better germination out of it. If something like this happens to you, you already know why. It could always be lack of humidity, lack of moisture, and also old seeds. Keep in mind, not every seed is going to want to germinate under hot or, humid conditions. There are a lot of, flower seeds that like to be germinated under cold conditions. Now, within maybe like 2-3 weeks or whatever, you're gonna get some really good sprouts, assuming everything goes really well. These are my cauliflowers. I believe these are Purple Sicily from Baker's Creek. Now, these are doing fantabulous. All right, notice the color of the grow medium, all right? Stupid dry, good, all right? When your soil or your grow medium has moisture or adequate moisture, the color gets darker. This is dry as heck, stupid dry. So notice that some of these have 2 seedlings, Okay, that one has like 3 going on. That one has 2 going on. So one thing you could do is obviously you can resow some seeds, or as these get a little bit larger and a little more stronger, you can actually separate these and transplant it over here into another cell. If you don't want to do that, let's say all of your seedlings grew or your seeds grew, then all you have to do is yank one of these out and just throw it away. That's called thinning of your seedlings. Thinning your seedlings. So it's just pulling one out and throwing it away. If you don't want to do that, and let's just say you have a few open spaces, you yank one out. Well, not yank, but you know what I mean. Gently separate them and then replant it in one of those cells. Notice that my grow medium looks a little on the greenish side. All right. Sometimes when you do have too much humidity or too much moisture, your grow medium will actually start to develop algae. And that is what the green stuff is. Will it harm your plants? Not exactly. I never really found it to have any problems, but I mean, that is a sign, okay? That is a sign. We're paying attention, remember? So if you do see green, that is giving you a sign and telling you, hey, you have too much moisture inside of your, inside of your grow medium, inside of your dome. Another tip, notice that the first 2 leaves that are coming out, those are just baby leaves. There's a word for this. It's called cotyledons. Oh my gosh, it's been a while since I took that class. But either way, I will get further into that into another video. But right here, the first 2 leaves that you're gonna get, those are cool. But that is not where you start to transplant. Those are just babies. Those 2 leaves are offering all the nutrients that that plant needs right now. When you start getting the next set of leaves, like the next 2 after those are going to be called true leaves. Those are the actual leaves that will start up, the plant. Then these 2 bottom leaves will eventually die off. All right, that was a boatload of information. And I gotta say, we're doing pretty darn good, Jack. Jack, you have learned a lot. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you got some good information out of it. At first, you don't succeed, try again. I know when trying, it can get a little frustrating and it can get a little down, but that's okay. Don't give up. We can learn from this and we can just keep it moving forward. That's okay. Through mistakes and through failure, we learn from it. So we can just grow from there. It's all right. If you did enjoy this video and you want to show me some love, then don't forget to smash that like button. I really appreciate it. It lets YouTube know that you like my videos. Also, if you haven't already, then consider subscribing. I drop a video every week and then some in between. Also, don't forget about the notification bell, because without the bell, you won't know I'm dropping a video. And last but not least, you can catch me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there all the time. You can drop me a message. We can chit chat about plants. Until the next episode, you guys, where you and me both are going to be growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time. I'll check y'all later in the next episode. Peace and love.